Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I wanted to share a homeschool book haul with you. I tend to do these videos like around once a year when I end up ordering a bunch of books for our homeschool. In the past, we have fairly consistently used Ambleside Online, which is an online Charlotte Mason curriculum that is like very literature based, and I've talked about it before, and I love the books that they select, and typically, we will use them for literature, for history, and several other resources. We've kind of always done our own thing for science, and so we don't use them like purely and strictly, but a lot of our books do come from that list. However, this year's a little different. I still do have a lot of books that I purchased that are on the Ambleside Online reading list for this school year, but because we are joining a more academic homeschool group that's kind of a hybrid model, there are other books I purchased for that. I'm teaching a literature and writing class, and so because there's a curriculum that I'm using for that, we'll mostly be using that for literature, and I already own most of those books, so most of them will not be in this haul. We're also doing science through this as well, and some government classes and some other things. So some of the things tie together, some of them are Ambleside Online, some of them are specifically for our group, and so I'll explain as I go. So this is our first year of high school, and we are actually in our homeschool group. We are doing IEW, and I've never done IEW before other than Fix It Grammar, which we've done for the past 2 years, and my daughter has really enjoyed helping her learn to diagram sentences and all that stuff. She just loves it. And so this is our first time using it as a writing curriculum slash literature. And so I purchased this guide. I'm teaching it, having never done it before. So I'm kind of educating myself this summer, getting ready to teach it because it is a different method of writing than what we've used in the past. But yeah, so all of the like literature books that we're using, most of them anyway, are coming out of this curriculum, but I did own a lot of them already. One that I didn't own is The Boy on the Wooden Box. This is actually a World War II Holocaust memoir, and I'd never heard of it before. So interesting. I am very curious about this because I haven't read this myself yet. I'm going to before I teach it, but I haven't read it. And as someone who was on a young boy who was on Schindler's List, I think. And then I do have a couple things here that I got from Ambleside Online. So I purchased this earlier this year. Actually, I had a McKay's haul and I found it at McKay's for like $1.50. This is A Man for All Seasons, which is kind of the saga between Henry VIII and Thomas More in play format. And so I had picked this one up. I will likely still include this, even though when I picked this up, we weren't planning on switching to a more academic co-op, and I was planning on just continuing with Ambleside Online, and that has changed a little bit. But I think I'll still include this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it's short, and secondly, because it will tie into the historical time period that we are studying this year. And lastly, there's this book on poetry that I think will be really interesting called The Roar on the Other Side. So this book goes through different poetic devices and talks about them. I don't know that it really has any sort of like exercises in it. Last year we did the grammar of poetry, which had exercises, had you writing your own poetry, had you marking like the different meters. And this one I think is just like chapters that you read about it, but I think it'll be a good building block on the back of Grammar of Poetry. I have a couple of biographies here. There's always some biographies scheduled. One of them, this is like shorter. This is Saints and Heroes. So this is church history. So I guess it's more history than just straight up biography, but different chapters have biographies on different church fathers or martyrs or people who were influential or did something in the church that was important in, I'm assuming, mostly Protestant history, especially since this is volume 2. There's probably some Catholic history in here as well, though. I also have a biography of Johannes Kepler. There is usually some sort of science biography. Usually there's several throughout the year. I just chose one this year because we do have a full like biology science curriculum that we're doing with our homeschool group. It's kind of cool because it's through a thing where the textbook is actually online for free. So I didn't have to pay for that. I also have a biography on Queen Elizabeth. So this one is not very long either, but I think that this will be a really interesting one in conjunction with the British history that we're studying this year. And then lastly, this is just as much for spiritual formation as it is for biography. This is a biography of Nate Saint, who was a missionary and also martyr to, I think, Ecuador. Yeah. So I think that this is going to be one that she really enjoys. She read a biography this past year that had to do with like the Philippines, like a missionary to the Philippines, and she really liked that one. Kind of piggybacking off of that one for spiritual formation, she'll also be reading The Pursuit of Holiness by Jerry Bridges this year. She'll also be reading the Screw Tape Letters, which I picked up for free. I already had a copy and a bind up, but I got like a singular edition. So I actually could have brought that in here, but I didn't technically purchase it, so I didn't. Moving on to history slash kind of like a government, citizenship, all that kind of thing. We're continuing with Winston Churchill this year. You can't read this as well. It's kind of, the gilding's kind of worn off. This is The New World. So this is book 2 of A History of English-Speaking People by Winston Churchill. So last year she read The Birth of Britain. This is the second one. All of the books, most of the books here that I purchased are used and I got online and found for, really inexpensive, and I was looking for less expensive editions. This one I actually paid more for because I wanted it to match the edition of the book we got last year, because I ordered the one last year and it came and it was so pretty and I had no idea that's the edition I was getting. So I was really excited to get a matching one. And when I say I paid more for this, I paid $14 for this. It was $10 and $4 shipping. So really, it wasn't bad. But in comparison to a lot of these other ones that I just paid a few dollars for, it feels like a splurge. Kind of going along, I guess, with A Man of All Seasons and the time period in history we are, because I think we're going to be picking up with the Tudors. I think that's where The New World begins, because the last book, The Birth of Britain, ended at Richard III. So I think that we're going into Tudor territory. We do have Thomas More's Utopia, which I actually have not read and would be interested in reading. So that kind of feels like that fits right in with all of that. For the government class that she's taking at our homeschool group, she has this, which is just, historical documents. I actually had some of these. Well, I had all of them already, but this has modern and original text, which I guess makes it kind of nice if you're having trouble understanding things. But I didn't know if they wanted them to be able to reference the modern English in addition to the older English. So I purchased this even though maybe I didn't need it. I'm not sure, but they actually linked this specific copy. And lastly, this kind of ties in with that, Whatever Happened to Justice. So this is actually part of Ambleside Online. Last year she read Whatever Happened to Penny Candy, which is about economics and the value of a dollar. It talks about inflation. It talks about all those kinds of things. This one is obviously about the justice system, but I feel like it ties in really well because in the fall she's doing government and then in the spring she's doing mock trial. And so I feel like this is only going to further augment and supplement that class. Lastly, I have some things here for foreign language. So if you've been here for a little while, you've probably heard me talk about how much we love Korean things. We love K-pop, we love K-dramas, we love watching Korean entertainment, we love Korean food, we just love everything Korean. So we have been studying Korean for a couple of years now. We've used Talk to Me in Korean, and in the past I have used their website and I've gotten like half off deals, which has been fantastic. It's a great website, has so many resources, but we were really only using the grammar lessons. And so I kind of realized, because she's also taking a different foreign language at our homeschool group, I realized that I didn't need to continue to pay the amount that I was paying annually, because I've gotten half off both years I've done it. And full price, it's $120, which is actually phenomenal considering all that it offers. But if I'm only using the grammar, I can just get the grammar textbook. So I went ahead and got level 3. We've done level 1 and most of level 2. We haven't quite finished up level 2 yet. We still need to do that. I do need to purchase the workbooks for this. I haven't done that yet, but I got this used online. And I think I paid like $10 for it. And they're not very expensive. They're like maybe $20 at the most, brand new. And so it's not like these textbooks are that expensive. But the nice part is that it does come with like audio that you can look up that links for free. And so I can look that up and still have the audio, still listen to lessons, still have all of those elements. But the things I'll be missing is there's like speaking practices and the lessons on the website. And like I said, they have all kinds of other workshops and things you can participate in that are included in that price. But because we never used them, it felt silly to continue that, especially because the real focus this year is going to be Spanish. Claire is taking Spanish through our homeschool group, and it's really cool because they were able to find a teacher who had just retired from teaching Spanish for 20 years in high school. And so I feel like she's going to be taught by someone who is very qualified. Not that we couldn't do it like at home with like online lessons like we are with Korean, but it's just cool that she'll have that like in-class practice. And I definitely feel like Spanish is a much more practical language to learn. Even though we love Korean, we don't have like a Korean population in our area. So it's really just for fun and involving our entertainment that we are learning Korean, but we do have a large Hispanic population around us. So this is like the first level, I guess, of this. It looks very dated, but again, this is what was linked of what the teacher was teaching. So I got the textbook used, and then the workbook I got brand new. So anyways, so those are what we're doing for foreign language. We are still continuing Korean at home, and that will just be part of our daily schoolwork that we do together. That's kind of what we've done in the past. We've done like one lesson a week and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing both, and we'll see how it works out. It's very possible that it may end up being difficult for her to try to do 2 languages at the same time, but she's not starting both languages from scratch at the same time, so maybe that will make a difference as well. But if need be, we can always drop Korean for a couple of years while she takes Spanish and then come back to it, but she really wanted to do both. So those are the books that I purchased for homeschool. It's not all of the books that we'll be using. Like I said, I already owned most of the literature books that we were using for IEW. And so because I have most of the books already, there were a lot of things I didn't have to purchase, which is something that's just really nice. When you are a lover of classic literature and you need books for a literature curriculum, chances are I already own quite a few of them. So some of them are like Uncle Tom's Cabin, which I'm reading right now, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Old Man and the Sea. And so most of them are like American books. And then I'm going to be supplementing with some of the books that I taught in my American literature class last year, where I kind of like made my own curriculum. There's a couple spots within IEW where you're able to like include novels of your choice. And so I'm actually going to do a Washington Irving unit and an Edgar Allan Poe unit, both of which I taught last year. So that's kind of fun because I have all the stuff for that already, and I've already, taught through that. And so it'll be fun to just kind of include that. But those are kind of some of our plans, most of our plans, I guess. There are some other things that we'll be doing through our homeschool group that don't require us to purchase any books or any curriculum. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the school year. I guess there's a part of me that's just like the tiniest bit nervous because we're heading into high school. And so it feels like the stakes are higher because things are going on a transcript. But also I know that it's just going to continue to be a wonderful time of learning together and educating at home, as well as educating in a new setting to us. And so I'm really, really looking forward to this upcoming school year, even though I can't believe that we're entering high school. Like, time has gone really quickly. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was of interest to at least some of you. I know I have some homeschoolers who are also part of this booktube community, so maybe this will be interesting to you, or maybe you've been interested in homeschooling. But either way, homeschooling content is certainly not the primary thing that I'm doing here. I do mostly just talk about the books that I am personally reading. So if this video was not of very much interest to you, no worries. We're going back to regular content soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me. And I will see you again next time.